The leader class slot has changed a lot over the years, going from toys that were big and chunky with lights and sounds to just big toys, to toys that had some line-wide gimmick, to a Voyager with extra bits with Megatron and Galvatron. Nowadays, it's just a price point. I mean, all the classes are. The amount of plastic and engineering dictates the cost of the toy, and that's fine. But for me, this is the definition of leader class. However, that might be different for others, but this is first movie leader class Megatron. This is the leader class stuff that I grew up with. The first movie was coming right off the heels of Cybertron in terms of toys, and that really shows, especially with these leaders. They feel a lot like Cybertron toys in the way that they feel, transform, the gimmicks, the size, the heft, it all feels very Unicron Trilogy-esque. Now I want to get my biggest problem out of the way right now, and that's the stupid feet. Why is it that all first movie Megatrons, minus the Studio Series one because I don't have that one, have horrible feet? The Voyager's feet can just fuck off. The MPM's feet are too heavy for its own good. They just do not stay in either mode. And this one has so much automorph in it that he just likes to do limbo all the time. It's really disappointing because I really like this toy, but damn, these things refuse to stand. It's pain. Plastic on this guy though feels top notch. To me, Cybertron has the best plastics out of Transformers in general, and it carries over here too. Like, we're getting better now, but I don't think with the cost of oil and shit now, we're not going to get back to plastic like it used to be at this price, but this guy feels solid and hefty. Like, it could survive a lot. It's like Transformers Cybertron and first movie stuff is like the Nokia of Transformers. You're gonna throw it at the wall and break the wall. This toy is going for the half frozen aesthetic like most of the movie one Megatrons went for, and here it actually looks pretty decent. The Voyager didn't really do it right, although this one you're seeing here is the Revenge of the Fallen version, which looks even weirder, but the leader does pull off the colors quite nicely. The fade from the blue to the grayish silver is quite nice, except for the thighs where you can see the clear split, because they're just two pieces being joined together and they didn't fade it. So that's just a small little nitpick I have, but it's not that big of a deal. But I'm sure a lot of you have noticed the massive amounts of kibble. Well, before the Revenge of the Fallen toy line, where they got really good at making movie toys, this was all very new to them. So doing designs like this just seemed like it was pretty difficult, at least from my understanding, which makes this guy have a lot of kibble. Arm kibble, but those have a purpose, and back kibble that's unavoidable apparently, unless it's the Studio Series version. And this also has a tail, which looks really weird. The tail portion can't fold away because that's where the batteries go, so I'm okay with it. But the wings are really what throw this guy off balance. And that nose cone, they weigh him down a lot. Seems to be a common theme with the MPM and the Voyager too. What's the purpose of the arm kibble? Well, one of the arms can combine to the other to do the whole fusion cannon blah blah extinction thing with the Dark Moon Shockwave mech tech style gun, which is cool, but I wish it could lock. I haven't found a way for it to lock, like natively on the figure, if that's the case. And the other arm has a flail, which is actually awesome. I love that this is included. It's supposed to fire out the wrist, but over time the spring is compressed so much on this copy that it just doesn't fire. Easy fix though. I love the flail thing. Yes, I wish it was posable, but given the circumstances, I think this is great. It's miles better than the MPM one. I hate that version's flail. It's just a piece of rubber. Now, leader classes back in the day had lights and sounds, and it was always a switch on the chest that would set off these lights and sounds. And in this case, Megatron's spark chamber, he just makes laser noises. Excuse me. Posing is fine. He has gorilla arms, which I'm glad is not a thing anymore. But it's decent. I just wish the feet would stay. But always ratchets. Transformation is neat. The automorph in the wings is pretty sweet. The legs are a bit of a pain to get like used to how to like fold them under the wings. But the jet mode, like the transformation and to that jet mode, is actually kind of nice. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You just kind of unfold them and flip the legs under and point the arms forward. It's not very difficult. It's huge. Not like MPM huge, but it's big. It's also layered, like it looks layered. It's like a way the toy unfolds and stacks, it kind of makes itself look like the mode's unfinished. The legs hang out under the wings, a bit of an eyesore. The arms don't like to stay tabbed in. And if you look at the tail section of the jet, it looks like it's supposed to tab in to the middle, because that's where that tab is hanging out and it's sticking so far up. However, that's not the case. It's just because of the batteries and the robot mode. He has his head poking out the front like every other time Megatron's an alien thing other than the last night. And it sticks out a little too much for me, and it's a bit of an eyesore. Like the MPM one definitely does a lot better of a job, but then again, that's a masterpiece figure versus this is just a standard leader. So I kind of give it a pass, but I love the sheer presence of this mode. There's a button on the back that does make some noises. It's also heavy. It's all the electronics, thick materials, the metal and the ratchets. They make this guy feel premium, even though it isn't premium. It's nice in hand and it feels really well made. And it's a very well made figure. It's definitely something you can have a lot of faith in messing around with it and it not breaking. Unlike a lot of the figures, especially from Earthrise, where they had the plastic issues due to COVID, you can definitely tell that this thing is going to survive like a nuclear blast. It's so strong. There are issues and better versions out there, even of this mold with more accurate colors. If you want a good first movie Megatron, I've been told just get the Studio Series one. If you want a big Megatron, then get the MPM one. So this one doesn't really have a place in most people's collections unless you're like me and you just want vintage movie toys. However, if you do decide to get one of these, I wouldn't pay more than $30 unless it's sealed, because I mean, I paid 25 Canadian for this thing used, complete. So I wouldn't pay anything more than 30. That is if you want to get one though. It's like, should you spend your money on this? I say yes, but only if you really, really want one. Because there, like I said, those other versions out there are just better. You're probably better off just getting the Studio Series if you can find it, or the premium finish Studio Series one. But that's been my look at Transformers the movie, the first movie, Leader Class Megatron. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Goodbye. Also, Happy New Year.